The old wooden roller coaster creaked and groaned as it made its way up the first hill, the wind whipping through the rickety structure. At the top, the cars swayed precariously before plunging down the other side. Screams echoed through the amusement park as the riders experienced weightlessness for a few seconds before being slammed back into their seats. For Maya and Lucas, this was the ride of their lives. But what they didn't know was that their screams had caught the attention of someone who would soon become their worst nightmare. It all started when Maya and Lucas decided to spend the day at an amusement park. They were celebrating their 1-year anniversary, and what better way to do that than by riding the most terrifying roller coaster in the park? The Old Mill, as it was aptly named, was not for the faint of heart. With its towering loops and dizzying drops, it was a testament to human ingenuity and madness. As they approached the front of the line, Maya and Lucas could feel their hearts racing in their chests. The previous riders had screamed as they went through the Old Mill's many twists and turns, and Maya and Lucas were eager to experience the same thrill. Suddenly, the ride lurched forward, and Maya and Lucas found themselves ascending the first hill. The wind whipped through the cars, whistling a tune that was equal parts eerie and exciting. As they reached the top of the hill, the world around them seemed to stand still. For a moment, all they could see was the track stretching out before them like a roller coaster. Then, with a sickening lurch, the car began to drop. For a few seconds, they were weightless before being slammed back into their seats. Screams escaped their lips as the car sped through the rest of the course. They went upside down, spun in circles, and twisted through tunnels, all while the old mill groaned and creaked overhead. By the time they had finished the ride, Maya and Lucas were shaking but exhilarated. They had survived the old mill, and they had each other to thank for helping them through it. But what they didn't know was that their screams had been heard by someone else, someone who was watching them from the shadows. His name was Victor, and he was obsessed with the idea of true love. He believed that the only way to test the strength of a bond between two people was to put them through a series of trials that would push them to their physical and emotional limits. He had seen Maya and Lucas on the roller coaster, and he had decided that they would be his next victims. As the day wore on, Maya and Lucas tried to enjoy the rest of the amusement park, but they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Every time they turned around, they saw the same creepy man standing there with a smile on his face. They tried to ignore him, but then he started following them from ride to ride, always keeping a safe distance but never disappearing from sight. By the time the sun began to set, Maya and Lucas were terrified. They had tried to outrun him, but it was no use. The creepy man was everywhere, and he seemed to be enjoying their fear. Then he struck. As they were walking through the park, he grabbed Maya and pulled her into a secluded area. Lucas tried to help, but Victor was too strong. He pushed Lucas away and smiled at Maya. "Don't be afraid," he said, his voice like a serpent's hiss. "I just want to help you test your love for each other." He led them deeper into the shadows, and Lucas knew that they were in trouble. Victor stopped in front of a dilapidated carousel, its once bright colors faded and peeling. "This will be your first trial," he said, his eyes gleaming with madness. "You must ride the carousel until it stops on its own. If you fail, I'm afraid I'll have to separate you forever." Lucas and Maya looked at each other, their faces pale in the moonlight. They knew that they had to do it, but as they climbed onto the carousel, they could feel Victor's evil laughter echoing around them. And so their nightmare began. This is part 1 of a 2-part story, to be continued in part 2,